Okay, call this governing board meeting to order on Tuesday, January 14th, 2025 at 5 p.m. in the Santa Cruz Valley Unified School District, number 35 Governing Boardroom, District Office 570 Camino Lito Galindo, Rio Rico, Arizona. And will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ms. Brown.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call board members, Ms. Lourdes Vasquez,
Present.
Ms. Susan Fobian,
Present.
Mr. Rene Ramirez,
Here.
Mr. Ben Guerrero,
Here.
and Mr. Brad Beach. And just real quick, Ben, our newest member, welcome. And if you'd like to say something, a little something to the board about yourself.
Yeah. Ben Guerrero, thank you guys for having me. Everybody's been great. And I look forward to being of assistance and learning a lot of things from you guys and doing the best that I can at my position.
Thanks and welcome aboard, Ben. Adoption of the agenda. Mr. Verdugo.
Yes, thank you. I have one request, if we could adjust and recognize spelling bee winners first or get the participants. Okay. And then the rest is no changes. Thank you.
Okay, motion with one adjustment to allow the spelling bees to be announced, correct?
Correct.
And recognized.
Moved.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. And we will, you want to recognize them right now?
Oh, we have to call the public and then we do that.
Okay.
I don't think there's any call from the public.
Also the public, then we're moving right along. Number 2, organizational action, okay.
So, here we had our district spelling bee. I'd like to congratulate all the participants and all of the green medal winners. The participants are Edmundo Tomo, Miguel Padilla, Kevin Duran, Madison Rodriguez, Josue Lucas, Lumiti Batu, and Stella Nui. And our fourth place was Lumiti Batu. Come up. Cool. Congratulations to all three. I don't know if the board has any questions or comments for the our spellers.
Ms. Fobian.
I was lucky enough to get to observe the spelling bee and you all were so very impressive. There were some really hard words and you did it. Congratulations.
Vasquez.
Also, congratulations. I didn't make it. I'm sorry. When I got here, the doors were already closed, so I couldn't come in. I'm so sorry, but I wanted to be here on time. But congratulations to all of you guys. Really, well done.
Guerrero.
Yeah, congratulations. I didn't get to see it, but sounds like it was tough.
Ramirez.
Thank you for representing us, our community, and I'm sure you did a lot of homework, huh, to learn those words. What grades are you guys in?
6.
Oh,
Nice, well, there you go. We look forward to you winning some more in the future. Like Daniel Woodburn did, and he represented us pretty well, huh? All those years.
All righty.
Congratulations, and parents, thank you for being here and good luck at the county spelling bee.
Yep, congratulations to all 3 of you. Yep.
yeah. Thank you, parents. Thank you very much. Thank you.
you know what the final word was? They,
Monotone.
Monotone?
you got me.
Yeah.
Okay. Up to organizational actions, subject A, election of board officials, consideration and possible motions. Mr. Verdugo.
Thank you. So this is our organization meeting, annually in January. We welcome Mr. Guerrero to the board. But also, we have the organizational items. Nomination and selection of the president for this calendar year.
Okay. And Ben, just to give you an overview, it's been sort of customary the last 3-4 years that we rotate the roles of the presidency. Ms. Vasquez is next in line. This is customary, it's not policy. Anybody can be nominated, but that's usually how we've been doing it. This allows a board member to get to know Mr. Verdugo a little better and vice versa. And also learn a little bit about parliamentary procedure and become a better board member and how to facilitate meetings, et cetera. Okay, so I'll open it up right now for nominations.
I'd like to nominate Ms. Lourdes Vasquez for president.
Second the nomination.
Okay, there's been a second.
No, I wouldn't have done it had you give all that other spiel. I just would have done it anyway.
All right,
Thank
then motion to elect Ms. Lourdes Vasquez for board presidency for the calendar year 2025. Been a motion? Okay, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I just want him to, oh, thank you.
And Madam President,
I think.
if you don't mind.
No, I would like you to please
go
finish it
with
off.
the election of the board clerk.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Go ahead. You may
I'll go ahead
continue.
and finish off this
Yeah,
section.
just to finish off that section.
I don't want to see power yet, no. There's my protesters out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one would be election of board clerk. Any nominations?
I nominate Brad Beach.
Okay,
Second.
okay, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor of, no, let me see, motion,
Any discussion or?
any discussion, yes.
Didn't somebody second?
Yeah.
Second,
Mr. Ramirez did.
Mr. Ramirez,
But
second.
you open it up for discussion, so,
yeah,
well,
Let's see.
okay.
okay. So motion to approve Brad Beach as board clerk for the 2025 calendar year.
Okay.
Okay, second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Oh, okay, good job. Thought he was done.
Now we go, Madam President.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I will do the best that I can. Really will. Okay, moving on to the next subject, designation of board meetings for calendar year 2025, Mr. Verdugo.
Thank you. So you have a copy of the suggested board meetings, and one of a couple things that I wanted to highlight, just because we different holidays and things like that. That we wanted to have only one meeting in March for spring break. One meeting in October.
Yeah, in October.
And then one meeting in November. So,
November the 18th.
I'm sorry, May.
May?
Not November, May, I apologize.
In May the
And
6th.
yeah, we adjusted the date in,
Okay, so the October, we have two, correct?
October, there's only one.
There's two in October.
The 7th and 28th.
7th and 28th.
yes.
November, there's only
We
one.
adjusted the calendar. For my copy.
So there'd be one in March,
One in March, the 18th,
one in May,
May the 6th.
and the October needs to be adjusted.
No, I think that we adjusted it to the 7th and the 20th, so we have two.
And the November is only one.
And then November is also.
November's the one that's only one.
Yeah. I
And
apologize.
December.
Yeah, November 18th is the only. And then also, the reason for is if we need anything for additional hiring, we can always have a telephonic meeting, which hopefully you'll also approve tonight. Yeah. So the recommendation is to approve the calendar as presented.
Okay, so then motion.
You can ask the board.
Okay, are there anything to add? Any questions, Ms. Sokofobi? Mr. Guerrero? Any questions? Mr. Ramirez?
No, I have
Mr.
nothing.
Beach?
I have none.
Okay, so then I have none either. So then motion to approve the board meeting schedule for calendar year 2025 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Second, okay. Are there any further discussion? Any further discussion from anybody? No? Okay. All those that are in favor, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Okay, ayes have it. Motion carries. So subject C, we go. Location for posting board meeting notices, Mr. Verdugo.
I think you listed are the ones that we post, again, board docs, the SCB35.org, all email users, district office, the county superintendent's office, and each of the school sites, and then other emailing that we send out to individuals that have requested to be on our list. As presented.
Okay, so the recommended actions, the motion to approve the official posting site for the board meeting notice as presented. Second, okay. Are there any further discussion from anybody? Yes,
I
sir?
don't see the post office listed on here. Do we list it at the post office too, or?
We have not done that in the last 2 years. It's because it was difficult to get there and then no one would actually see it. So we have an email list and then all the other locations on our website. We can add the post office. I mean, it's not, if that's a request, we can always add that.
That's all right. We're good. I'm good like it is. Just wondering about that, why we don't do that. But
Two of that, the fact that it was not being utilized. They weren't getting it because everybody was getting it online. And then we added people to the email list.
Okay. I have nothing.
No further questions, no further discussions? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Did we make a motion already?
I did make the motion, right?
Okay. Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Moving on. Subject D, the board meetings via conference call and other technological means, Mr. Verdugo.
I think, yes, so this allows us to have a meeting virtually, or if a board meeting member cannot attend in person, then they're able to participate via phone or via Zoom.
So let me see. This one? Okay, motion to allow board members to attend meetings virtually via telephonic, conference call, or other technological means. That one? Second, okay. Are there any further discussion?
I have none.
None? Phobia? No? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay? Okay, ayes have it, motion carries. Moving on, presentations. We did the presentation from the spelling bee. We got that one out, and we have the county treasurer matters, Mr. Verdugo.
Yeah, so
Okay, so we are gonna go into executive session.
that's the recommendation.
Okay, for the notice, executive session notice is hereby given to the general public that the governing board of Santa Cruz Valley Unified School District number 35 may vote to hold an executive session for discussion or consultation for legal advice with its attorneys and or for discussion or consultation with its attorneys to consider its position and instruct its attorneys regarding county treasurer litigation and related matters. The governing board's attorney may participate in person, virtually, or by telephone. A motion to convey to executive session in conference room number 125. Move.
Second.
Second, okay. So
All in favor?
all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Nay, ayes have it, motion carries. We are now going to executive session in conference one. Thank you. motion to reconvene the regular session?
Second.
Okay, second. Okay, are there any further discussions? No? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Moving on to, that's at the presentation, right? To number five. Number five, is that number five? Oh, yeah, the presentation, okay. Subject, San Cayetano Elementary School data and SIAP, Mr. Verdugo.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Ms. Sabria up and her team, who will be sharing San Cayetano's letter grade and their data. So, Ms. Sabria.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, colleagues, and attendees. I have to take a deep breath because although we love the letter C in Cayetano and care, Cheetah, not necessarily very perfect. So it definitely with a heavy heart that I present with you today, but we're excited for what the future holds. So I did invite Sarah Boswell. She's our new instructional coach for the year, and she's just been absolutely invaluable. For those of you who don't know, she was in the classroom last year. And so just all the information that she's been able to share, it's been really, really helpful. So I can't imagine, honestly, even just getting to now without her. So I felt that it was important that she was a part of it. Yes.
Sarah was also my wrestling manager, so.
Uh-huh.
I think we want a new title and maybe a state runner up there. So, yes.
I was their champion year, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's always been a part of the team.
Oh, yeah.
Well, welcome to your new position.
Thank you very much.
So this presentation does look a little bit different than the other sites. We just thought with our new board member, just wanting to take the opportunity just to share a little bit more and just kind of get into the details. We did share this presentation with our families and with our staff. So we really wanted to delve deep into it. We've looked at the letter grade, of course, before, but we felt obviously a different sense of urgency and really trying to get down to the nitty gritty of it. So we are performing. We were, in all honesty, expecting it, but nonetheless, it was still jolting. And we knew because like over when we received the A, when we earned the A, we knew there was that significant amount of growth, and of course, maintaining it is difficult. And so that's that piece of it, that maintenance that really plays into it. So those components, just in general, you're all aware of where, you know, the different components, what comprises the letter grade. And so that's where just really, again, digging down deep and looking at where overall that was a significant drop. And so really trying to look at where those big pieces are. And so we can really see that acceleration and readiness is a big piece of it, as well as that growth. And so that's really glaring to us, and how can we address that? And so that proficiency, just kind of, again, really looking at like understanding, you know, the different points that you receive. A child is not a point, but we have to really kind of look at that and understanding where, you know, where are we going to get the most bang for our buck. But we really want to focus on all of our students, but we were able to really kind of take this knowledge and break it down. And so we understand that we really, unfortunately, we do have quite a number of students who are minimally proficient. And of course, that's where you don't receive those points there. And so we really need to have that movement there. And so this is just an overview of it and getting more into the details of where we're at. So you can see that, again, where the majority of our students are minimally proficient in those grade levels. And that's where we really want to be able to make that growth. Again, that wasn't that much of a decrease, but nonetheless, we don't want to see a decrease. So we really want to focus on having a larger number of our students being proficient, and of course, the majority. I had put in a link, but we haven't finished our mid-year assessment, so I don't have the data projections for you. So we'll just go ahead and skip that, please. And so this is where we really need to see some growth. And so it's really Again, it's based on students not just making growth in points, but really that significant growth. So we want to see the students moving from minimally proficient to proficient and really see those big gains. And I'll address that towards the end, what our plan is and how we've shifted our focus on really looking for those significant gains for our students. And so you'll see here again, where we did have that significant decrease, and we can see our minimally, we had that, that growth with like our minimally proficient, we can see our higher numbers there, but it's just not significant enough. And that's really where our work has to be in pinpointing, like why are we seeing such a significant decrease? And that's really, obviously, I'm sure stood out to you as well, but that was just really hard for us and just, okay, what do we need to do? But that is where that piece is, that just a significant number there. And so then our ELL growth. So I know that it's still within draft form, that range, but our ELL growth just really, again, focusing on that students are making that significant growth. Like we really want to go from one indicator level to the next within that year of growth. And this is, again, just kind of lets you know those students very similar as to prior. So like receiving the more growth that they make. If they make one indicator growth, then they receive 1 point. If they're able to make those 2 indicator growths, then they would receive more points for it. So just really, again, that focus having to be on that growth. So we were happy that sorry, thank you. Our EL growth, we were stable there. So we did receive 8 points there, which is what we had last year as well. But again, just really wanting to focus on these indicators and moving that. We had our total of 12 students who were proficient. And so we really do want, we're happy with the 8 out of the 10 points, but we really want to see more students be proficient. And so this was our subgroup. So I just kind of circled there. Again, we shared this presentation with staff as well as parents. And then those are just the subgroups that do pertain to us. Then here, the acceleration piece. So this is where those 6 points. So the previous year, we had 57% of our students who were minimally proficient. And because we did not have a decrease in that number, we had an increase to 61%. That's why we didn't receive any points there. And honestly, the chronic absenteeism, it's such a significant shift. And I don't know how we went from that 3% to that 36%. Well, because students haven't been there, but it just seems so off. Like it truly is. But because we didn't decrease it from the prior year, which is why we did not receive points. So I'm hoping, because it was that high, then we get the flip side of that. But we've really made an extenuated amount of effort in really pushing that attendance with families. We have our attendance heroes being here every day, ready on time. I don't know if you've heard that at San Cayetano, you get coned. So it's not only been our absences, but our tardies. So we do ask that our families, the kids are in the building by 7:25 because they should be in their seats ready to learn at 7:30. And so we put the cones out and we really push that's our expectation, that they start their day right at 7:30. And that's really been working well. So by 7:25, there's not a line out there anymore. So we really do appreciate that. Our parents are really working hard. And so this one is kind of an odd one too. So looking at the table there, you don't see any of the points there that we earned, but they were due to, you'll see them on the next page, that special ed inclusion. So we received, there's ours. Thank you. So we received our 2 points for special ed because we did have a higher number. I think it was within the 80% higher. We were here than the state average of 80%. And then as far as the science piece, so we were 1 standard deviation above the state, so we did receive 1.5. That 0.5 is the highest we've ever had, so I'm gonna hang on to that one. So we're appreciative to that exploration lab, and of course, that is in partnership with our classroom teachers as well. So we know that they both carry that weight, so we're grateful for that. And so, again, just kind of coming back to that recap. So I really had to have a long conversation with myself initially, right? And really trying to identify what does all of this mean? What has impacted that decrease of letter grade? And it was, okay, what are we gonna do? And really focusing on, okay, it's all of our responsibility, and what are we going to do together to shift that? And so we do acknowledge that teacher turnover has been something that's been really impactful, particularly in the upper grades. We're really grateful for our long-term subs and stepping up to the plate. But even last year in one of our 5th grade classes, they had 4 different teachers within 1 year. So it can be really impactful. And so with that, it's really trying to identify how are we setting up our teachers to be successful. And then a part of it too is we're working so hard. You can see it. Like, our teachers are absolutely dedicated, and they do put that care, right? They put that heart and that hard work. And so it is a little frustrating when you're feeling like you're working so hard, but are we working hard on the right things? And so that's where we really have to have that conversation with ourselves. So we had some reflection. I don't know if you've heard of Brene Brown, I'm sure you have, but being clear is kind. And it's not easy to be vulnerable. And we were with our staff and really trying to get down to the nitty gritty of it. What is working and what is not? And understanding that, you know, when we walk into a classroom and we're seeing students who are engaged, but what's the rigor of that engagement? And so I think there's some part where we've gotten used to the way we've done things, and they've worked for a long time, but we have to do things differently. And so it's just really stepping back and, okay, we've got some work to do. And so then also with that, I mean, those were like the big, really glaring things. Okay, what can we focus on? You know, you eat an elephant 1 bite at a time, right? So, so we've divided our elephant in 3, and those are our big focuses. So with our IEP, we have our 2 math and our ELA goals. And essentially the gist of that is really tying back to what we said before with whether we have a long-term sub, whether we have a certified teacher, but what are we doing in our classrooms? And we really want to work together to create a framework of what those expectations are instructional. What's working? And let's continue to do that. And what's not working? And where do we need to shift? And I think with the curriculum piece, we're in our 3rd year with math curriculum. And so we're starting, we understand it, we can see it, we can really identify what works, what's not working, and having those conversations. But honestly, I think with the ELA curriculum, I think we've had so many veteran teachers using it for so long, and it was outdated, which is why we purchased a new one. We kind of inadvertently and unintentionally started working in silos and kind of being dependent on what that veteran teacher knew and what they brought to the table. And now with so much shift, we can't depend on that. And so we really have to create that structure and that framework of what works and what doesn't work, so that from the get-go, our teachers understand this is what works and this is what we're moving forward with. And really that way it's across the board. And so having kind of that standard piece, so then that also gives us data to really identify what's working and not working, because some things have been different instructionally. It's been a little bit of a challenge to identify that. But then that balance too, where the art and the beauty of teaching, like that's those teachers who create that magic in the classroom. So we want to be able to have a balance of, here are your expectations, this is what we know works, but then also where's that beauty in that teaching? Do you want to add anything to that, sir?
Well, with veteran teachers and then new curriculum, sometimes you get a little hesitation, maybe a little back. But I'm really happy to say that when I visit classrooms, which I do daily, I see core curriculum in math and ELA being implemented in every classroom as best as our teachers can right now, because they are still learning that. So thankfully, our core curriculum in both math and ELA is quite rigorous. So I think that is going to help with our rigor problem, if you will. And then when you look at our IEP, I want you to notice we said 100% and it's K through 5, because we know that that letter grade, it's not just what happens 3rd through 5th on AASA. We've got to get them early and we've got to get them on track early. So that's been a big shift in our mindset. Even with Move On When Reading, for a long time, it was like, tell parents in 3rd grade, tell parents in 3rd grade. And I think next year, we're going to start talking to parents about it in kindergarten.
And we did this year.
And we did this year. Okay, we did. So, because we know, like, you've got to get them early.
And the shift too with our data goal we shifted to for iReady, it's called their stretch goal. And so there's their annual typical growth goal, and then there's a stretch goal. So if they meet their annual typical growth goal, it just keeps them on the same path that they are. That's not sufficient. So we really need to shoot for that stretch goal so that the students are really making gains. And so if they're 1 grade level behind, then within 1 year, how can we get them closer to that? And so we've really been focusing on those extra ways that we're shooting for the moon, and hopefully we at least land in the stars, right? But that was a huge shift. Even having that conversation with staff was again, with Brene Brown, is called Ready to Rumble. And we got there to rumble, right? And it's like, what are we doing? Or what are we invested in with our students? And they were all in. And it wasn't just me saying it. It really was them putting in the hard work and being dedicated to 100% of our students and really shooting for that stretch goal. And likewise with MAP, we've been very dependent on MAP. It's very similar in giving us the projections on AASA. And it had been, okay, meeting their projected growth, very similar to that typical growth. If they just meet their projected growth, they again continue on that same path. So we are focusing on them making an increase in their percentile, because that's where we'll see the difference, not only in their grade level, but as well as on AASA. And so really delving deep into the data has been a part of, again, that framework where we've been, of course, we're always looking at data, but it had been, again, dependent upon like that veteran teacher and what they thought. And so we're trying to set those protocols. We're in the midst of it now because we're finishing our mid-year data. But what are the expectations? We just finished with Amplify for DIBELS, and that was phenomenal. And it was the teachers doing the work. So it was identifying, it was 2 hours of getting down to the nitty-gritty of that data. But the most impactful piece of that was that they had action steps for it. And that's what we need to do. So we have scheduled data days for each team and each assessment. So we'll be spending 2 hours with each team. We already did DIBELS. Now we're going to do MAP. Now we're going to do iReady, and really walking away with action steps so that we're holding ourselves accountable. And that's really what it needs to be. And so we're excited about it. And again, it was that kind of being that example of what we're expecting our teachers to do with personalized learning and giving our students agency. We have to give our teachers that agency, and we have, but it was just great to hear those conversations within themselves and having that self-reflection on the instructional changes that need to happen. Also with WinTime, we're super grateful to the district. Not only do we have the new reading curriculum, but we also have a curriculum for interventions, for reading intervention. And so we didn't have that prior. So it was kind of, again, dependent on the reading specialist and their knowledge. And so that has been very prescriptive. It is, we literally sat here with our reading specialist, as did the other sites, and we scheduled the lessons for the entire year. When are we progress monitoring? What's happening? And there are no cancellations. In bold, capital letters. And that was the piece too, like we can't deviate from that. And so really having that expectation, and now our teachers are now implementing the DIBELS intervention part of it as well. And again, I'm so grateful to TLA and our district in investing in that. We're already seeing a shift. We had great gains in kinder. Like truly, we're very proud of what we've seen so far with DIBELS, and that's what we need to see it working. Another piece of that, we're currently, I think Calabasas already has their teacher progress monitoring. We weren't there yet. It's been dependent on our reading intervention team. And from this data analysis, our teachers are, you know what, we need to be doing this. And so that's great that they're owning that and seeing where those shifts can happen. And then the TLA guidance, they did provide for us. We were super grateful. As Sarah said, adopting a new curriculum can be overwhelming for anyone, but particularly with those veteran teachers who've done things so long for the way that they have, making that shift, it's hard to trust something new. And so there was a little bit of a struggle. What are those best practices? And they created that guidance for us that has really offered some clarity. They kind of did the hard work for us as far as ELA. And so we really appreciate that. And that's what we want to continue to do. Again, that framework, that math piece, like we have that district level, but then we need to look at it for our students and really what are those best practices to implement. And then also for that personalization, that PCBL is still coming. Again, we've been stronger in previous years because we had veteran teachers, but again, with that turnover, so really setting the expectation with that as well. But we have shifted to having personalized homework. So really offering that piece for our students so that they can feel that independency, really master and practice those skills. For tutoring, we had a big shift as well. Previously, we historically have done it just by grade level. And so we shifted that we're focusing on the skill. And so we have multi-grades in one class, again, trying to close that achievement gap. And then as we mentioned before with our teachers, with our families, we did our Title I meeting differently. Engagement is a struggle we all feel from parents, but we took our Reading Under the Stars event, was very well attended. So we combined it with Title I. We tricked everybody. They thought they were going to have fun, and I'm just kidding. So what we did is we invited them to Reading Under the Stars, but with the caveat of Title I first. So I met with parents for half an hour, and students went with teachers. And so it was really having that hard conversation. We did K1 and 2-3 together, and really explaining to them that move on with reading. It's that hard work now. And really, sharing with parents like that shift. Kinder through second is learning how to read, and third through fourth, third and beyond is reading to learn. So if they don't really have that foundation, they're going to continue to struggle the rest of their academic careers. So, and you could see the looks on our parents' faces. We scared them a little bit, but that sense of urgency, why they need to be here. And not only having that meeting and educating them, but they got to walk away with skills that they could use with their students. So it was really great. Teachers implemented stations. They had like a fly swatter game and finding this word. So you could see parents like, oh, I can do this with my child. I can help my child read. Even if I'm an only Spanish speaker and my child knows more English than I do, which is sometimes a frustration, we were able to really give parents tools and walk away with materials that they can use at home with their kiddos. So we're going to continue to do so. We have our ELL night tomorrow night. And so do you want to share? That was your.
Oh, yeah. So tomorrow night we have our ELL night. And it's more of almost like a resource fair. So we've invited lots of community organizations to come in and share what is available to families from them. We've got a couple teachers staying that are going to kind of go over how to use Clever and how to use the different apps on Clever with families as well. And we have some books to give them at the end. So it'll be a good time.
And with our site council meetings, we've also shifted how we do that. So we do, of course, invite our families, but we split up where parents are lucky. They get to hang out with me for 45 minutes, an hour. So I have my meeting with them where we review just different things. We review technology. We've gone over letter grade, the IAP. So really delving in deep. Then students have our specials take turns. And so they'll have like a PE night or with our counselors. So the kids will go have a little bit of fun with one of our specials teachers. And then we bring our families back because we want to encourage them to have that family time without their screen, right? And give them examples of different things you can do, not just academically, but that social emotional piece and how they're filling that cup up for their children. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. We're doing a lot of things, but I wanted to focus on the things, the biggest shifts that we're making. And again, I stand before you as humbled, and this is not a responsibility that I take lightly. I stand behind our staff, and I'm so proud of them. They've really worked really hard. And again, we've had some really difficult conversations this year. We acknowledge this is not where we want to be. We definitely want and agree with the dream that Mr. Verdugo has of every school being an A school. We want to be an A+ school again, but we have work to do, and we're well aware, and we are definitely moving. So we've shaken off the dust. Our spots are showing. We are cheetahs, and so we will definitely get there. We also acknowledge that it's going to take time. It's not an easy task. So we're prepared for that as well. But slow is smooth, right? And smooth is fast. Well, we will get there. And again, we're really appreciative of the support from my colleagues. I cannot tell you how many times I call them. Ms. Cabrera, she's been really helpful as well. I think our district leadership is really invested on giving our students the tools that they need and our teachers. So I'm grateful for that. So I can't imagine being anywhere else. So, but thank you. And again, thank you, Sarah, for being a part of it with me. And she truly has been integral to this year. So.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. Do we have any questions? Anything to add, Ms. Fobian?
Thank you. I mean, you truly understand the data, and our position here under open meeting law, we don't give directives. That's just, that is not for us to do. And sometimes we kind of move into that direction, and I hope we don't, because we're not supposed to. I want to congratulate you on the thoroughness of your plan going forward. Yeah, it was shocking, but there's a lot of external things that happen too. So looks like you're on a roll.
Good. Thank you. Mr. Guerrero?
No questions. Thank you. Very, very good presentation. And it's the first one I sat through, so I'm hoping that next year, you're able to, execute your plans, and, we have faith in you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ramirez.
Yeah, well, I find that pretty surprising. I don't think I've ever heard a board member give anybody a directive here. I think we've given suggestions to the superintendent, but I don't think we've given directives to anybody.
Anything goes to the superintendent.
Of course, yes, obviously, you're talking to the choir here. But we don't give directives here. We never have done that at all since I've been here. I don't think I've ever heard a board
Make
member-
suggestions.
We give
but,
suggestions, but not
It's
directives.
not a directive.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Again, it goes to the
We can
superintendent.
agree to disagree, but no, it's not. And if we gave a directive, it would be to Mr. Verdugo. Mr. Verdugo would direct straight to our principals.
right. And the president of the governing board can give a directive to him, but that's it, from what I understand. But at any rate,
That's your,
Let's move on.
that's just a moot point. At any rate, I want to just talk to you about some things that I found rather interesting in your presentation. Twice, you talked about turnover rate. And so I'm starting to wonder, what is the turnover rate? Ms. Renteria, I want to call you Mimi because you're my former.
I know.
Okay.
Is that okay, Mimi? So,
I
has the turnover rate been a big challenge to the school?
I mean, it has been, and it's just like, we've been grateful. We've had student teachers where we had a student teacher in 3rd grade last year, and that just didn't return and stay with us. And so we've had movements as well, because we tried to make sure that we had at least 2 certified teachers in every grade level if we could. So we've had shifts, and the people who have left have been life-changing things. Like, for example, our teacher who left last year, it has been like, not necessarily them not wanting to be there, but some life changes. And it's been difficult to fill those positions with a highly qualified teacher. And so it's just been Yeah, there, I don't have that, but I can get that for you more specifically, but we have had that turnover. Not necessarily in kinder and first, that's our veteran teams. But we have work to do there as well. I acknowledge that. But we have had that turnover. I can get that specifics for you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. The next thing I want to say, you were my student and I remember you as my student. You were always organized and dedicated, and that's the way you remain even as the principal of the school. I don't question that you go in there and you really are dedicated to the place. Every single principal that we have in this room is that way. We have really good principals, really. So like whenever I say something, I don't want you to think, oh, Mr. Armillas thinks that I'm not doing a good job or whatever. No, I don't, but I do want to discuss some things that I found interesting with regard to this turnover. Because as you guys recall, when we went and did the big powwow with Steve for personalized learning, that day on the stage, do you recall what I discussed? What I was concerned about? Do you remember?
I apologize.
You were with us in that little group.
I remember being there, but
And I remember you said something about one of the comments that I had made to the crowd because I was concerned. And I was one who was critical, but not negatively, because if you guys all ask me, you say, Mr. Armillas, are you a proponent of PLC? Personalized learning? Of course I am. I think the ideas sometimes that we have as educators they're great. And the ideas that we have from the board down to the administration, to teachers, they're good ideas, but sometimes, and as I said that day, sometimes we run risks when we introduce things like you were saying, some of the teachers that are new, you said sorry, you're the one that said this, you said they have a hard time sometimes, some of the new ones that come in. One of you guys said that.
I said, with our veteran teachers, new curriculum.
Yeah, that's what you said. Said right.
Scary.
Sometimes, yeah, because Mr. Beach and I can tell you, when we worked at Rio Rico High School and they would throw something new, we're like, here we go again. And now they would tell us, for instance, we want you guys to write lesson plans. And this is the format that we want you guys to use for your lesson plans. And then we would work like dogs to try to create that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, a year or two later, they'd say, well, sorry, guys, this is the new format. We want you to write your lesson plans. And just like when you work as a veteran teacher to try to get on top of it and you think, yes, now I got all my paperwork in order. So if my administrator comes to me, I've got my lesson plans and I'm good to go. Now I can focus on the stuff I really want to as a German teacher, math teacher, and really get my message across, And you kind of look at these things, and that's why I picked up on that. Like, this is hard to switch, especially if you're a veteran teacher. So I appreciate that. But I want to say that day I discussed turnover and I said, we got to be careful with these kinds of things, these kinds of movements. Because every time we get one of these movements, as you know, Mr. Lu, you've been around a long time to see all the different ones that have come around, everything from back to basics. And it always seems like we go back to that. We go in the circle and then we go back to basics again when the test scores go down. And so I think that perhaps, I'm not sure, but maybe when we get brand new teachers that come in and they're just trying to get their head around, classroom management and teaching, it's really hard on them to get all this theory coming down at them and incorporate that a lot of you remember from being first year teachers, those were the hardest years when you're just trying to generate your arsenal of materials to teach the kids. Those are your hardest years until you become a veteran. Then you guys know, you taught a long time. Once you're a veteran and you got all that arsenal under the belt, it's easy. So what I'm saying is, when we get these new guys, we got to treat them gingerly, because professional learning, though it's really good in theory, it puts a lot of pressure on people. And perhaps this is the criticism I had that day. I said, there's a possibility that we lose people because they just feel overwhelmed. And if we lose people, then that's not a good thing. And there's a fine balance, as you well know as a superintendent, between those things. So I'm just kind of bringing that up as food for thought for everybody. involved, including you, Mr. Verdugo, because we have to be careful that we don't alienate them or overwhelm them, or otherwise they're gonna wanna run on us. And let's face it, we don't have people banging on the door here in a little rural district to work here. It's hard to find, as you had mentioned, qualified, you had mentioned it in your presentation, it's hard to find highly qualified people. I mean, we got a lot of substitutes that are in there long-term teaching the core classes.
Which,
Appreciate that. Ms. Vasquez from when we worked together.
Mr. Ramirez, I agree with you, which is why like our first year and our second year teachers, we're not pushing them to really implement personalized learning yet, because I wholeheartedly agree. Classroom management, learning the curriculum, that needs to come first. So just so you know, we are treating them very gingerly, giving them lots of time to acclimate and get themselves best prepared to do strategies that involve
Brings
personalized.
me to another subject, which is autonomy. Mr. Beach and I, when we first worked at Rio Rico High School, one of the reasons that everybody stayed there so long and they felt so dedicated and they loved being coaches at the schools because they felt autonomy. And Kate used to really push that with us. You remember her, you remember Miss Miller. And she really pushed that and gave us a lot of autonomy and didn't pressure us into doing stuff. If you recall, Mr. Verdugo, when I first came on the governing board, as you guys know, I'm very pro teacher. And one of the first things I asked, is there any way that we can stop making the teachers that are veteran teachers do the safety videos every single year? I mean, my God, that's like 8 hours worth of time. Videos that they have to watch. And then you told me no, because they're state mandated. Right. Am I right?
Or for our trust, yeah, through our liability.
So like, I'm one that's always trying to get that kind of stuff off their plate so that they can focus on what they really want to do, which is teach their subjects. I mean, they have a love for their subjects and that's why they study them at the university. I would hope they do anyway, but.
If I can add just to, thank you for sharing that, Sarah, and I agree. I think we've tried to, as my colleagues, where we're trying to be the example of that personalized learning and understanding that each student is at their own pace. And we see that with our teachers as well. We never want to push someone over the edge or stress them out. And in all honesty, I've not ever had a teacher tell me that, and that's why they were leaving. And we have those conversations. Okay, where can you pull back if they are feeling, if something's going on and they're frustrated with something? We try to have those open conversations and how can we support you? And so I definitely feel like that communication is there, but I've not had a single teacher tell me that personalized learning is too hard. And so I recall now that conversation, and I stand by what I said. I think it's been a saving grace. That our teachers have really embraced it where they can, but it's not easy. Absolutely, it's not easy, but it has been that saving grace where our kids are coming to us differently. And we have to do things differently, and it's no longer the sage on the stage. And that's kind of been that.
But that's just the thing. This all in theory sounds good, but like, if we start to lose teachers and we have a high turn, we have to start asking ourselves, why are all these people running on us? And why are they going to different districts?
Nationwide.
Our turnover is lower than the state average, and we also have one of the lowest locally as well. And so just to also talk about some of the things that we're doing in addition to that, we are adding the new position in the TLA that's specifically designed because of the need for first and second year support as well as long-term subs. Because the issue of long-term subs is not going to change. Just last week, I think Catlin, who was the presenter, there's 55,000 job openings in the US for teachers. And in Arizona alone, we're approaching 4,000.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
That pool continues to shrink, which is really hard on every district, not just.
And then that's why to address the issues, and specifically adding this TLA position that is focused specifically on support for first and second year teachers as well as the long-term subs, because we have long-term sub teachers that are quality but don't have the teaching background. And so it's our job to then provide that. And so that's why we're adding this position for next year, and thank for the board for that support and approving that job description, because it's something that we feel is going to be a game changer for us. adding that to the TLA office and have them specifically working with those teachers. Not only for maintaining them as far as longevity, but then also the quality, and providing that instruction that we need to improve in the classroom, so.
Yeah, well, you brought up the issue of turnover, that's why I mentioned it. So, but I want to say that I think there really is a fine line, I don't know where we're getting this.
And for what it's worth, I'd just like to share, when I made the decision to move back to the area, and was thinking, well, where am I going to work? I chose to come back here because of the personalized learning initiative.
That's nice, it's really nice, but I don't think everybody feels the same way. And I just want to say that I think that we should keep on doing that, but there has to be a balance between, and we have to be careful that we don't push it too hard. And I'm speaking to Megan too, because sometimes teachers, they get overwhelmed, and you can ask a lot of them. Sometimes when they find out, hey, we're not gonna have the workshop, and how many times didn't you feel great when the principal would come on the loudspeaker and say, you guys can catch up today on your grading, and you're like, hey, I can get a grip on what I have to take care of from my classroom. So that's what I'm talking about, to have that balance.
We do try to dedicate half of our PDs on Wednesdays. Like there are days where we need the 2 hours, but we do at least have that 1 hour of dedicated PD site, but then also giving them that opportunity to be on their own. And then with our flexible planning, I don't know if you recall, every 6 weeks we would have our 4-hour day. Well, we had to shift that because, with the new curriculum and the new those expectations, how are we giving our teachers more time? So we shifted it where we doubled up our special on one day of the week. So they have 80 minutes of consecutive planning every week. And that's been a big shift too, but it was that having that autonomy to make that decision. But we understand they're working really hard, and to prepare all of that, we have to be able to give them that time and support them.
Juggle a lot of.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have made some shifts to help with that.
I was listening to you with regard to absenteeism and tardies, and you weren't quite, you don't even understand why it went up. And I don't know what to tell you with the Munchkins, because like at the high school level, I said that, you can do something like have Saturday detention, and the parents hate to come in. So wow, they really get on their kids about, hey, I don't want to have to bring you to school again for Saturday detention. So, they get their act together. It really works. It works where we are. But I don't know what to tell you with the Munchkins. I have no idea what to tell you to cure that one.
I think there's
It's
still
over.
some misconception that if the absence is excused, it's okay. And I think it's just kind of fluctuating back from the C word, COVID. But we really have, like, our students track their attendance every day. So you can hear them tell their parents at student-led conferences, do you see how many reds I have here? I need greens. We announce our perfect attendance on a daily basis. We acknowledge it at assembly. So we really do see, just as you said, that suggestion, finding those ways of really having the kids, having it be meaningful for them.
I mean, maybe Dominic put the fear of God in them down there. Maybe we just need to get him down there for an hour. I don't know. But the last thing I want to say is the MAP testing. I like MAP testing because it's good for teachers personally to see how they're getting ahead. But once again, I'm critical of it because it's not a grade level test. Right? Matt?
You can get back grade level data, but it all depends on its adapters. So that's why our classroom and our curriculum.
But it does tell us, yeah.
Their grade level.
It's good though, and then kind of critical of it, but it's good because at least teachers find out whether they have progress or not. But thank you, Mimi, and Mimi, you do a really good job. I have full faith that you really truly care about changing the grade, and you do good work down there, and you're always organized, and you put your all in it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. Okay, Mr. Beach.
Yeah, Mimi, you'd mentioned one step closer to the edge, correct? I'll add, and I'm about to break. What group does that come from? The lyrics?
I am
Lincoln Park. man.
sorry.
Oh.
Had it been a Selena song?
Eh, on my age.
He's showing his age, okay?
Okay, I'm gonna run short, so I'm just gonna say, you know what? you looked at the data, you're acting, assessing, adjusting, and you're being very proactive. So continue looking at the data and following it and adjust as you guys see fit, wherever it leads you, okay? You guys are the cornerstone of our district. Probably the most important schools are elementary schools, because everything feeds off of that, okay? You did implement a new reading program, and I believe that if the kids learn how to read and read at grade level, they're gonna ace these state assessment tests, because they become reading tests. If you look at the science tests at the high school, it's interpreting a paragraph and coming up with the answer. You got to critical think on it. Math has now become a reading test. It's a paragraph, you read it. So everything revolves around reading. So I'm real happy that you guys got that new program, and it seems like you guys are utilizing it. And what's good about it also is, what does success look like? This is one aspect, the state test, okay? It's not the weakest or strongest, but it does give you some data. The reading test is gonna give you Lexile levels. When these kids come in the first 9 weeks, their Lexile level's at 100, second 9 weeks, it's at 300, that's success. Okay, your after-school programs, that's success. Your parent involvement, your teacher involvement, after-school activities, all these are a lot to celebrate in our successes of your school. So I just wanna say to all the principals, we appreciate you. You guys are definitely working hard to look at the data and make improvements, but there's so much to celebrate other than this one test, okay? So thank you for the presentation, and I yield to Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Beach.
Yep.
He didn't leave me anything to say, okay, because I agree with everything that he says, and also my other colleagues, okay? It's just, one of the things that I just wanted to know is like, do you have teacher buy-in? And you have you know what I'm saying, because there's a lot of teachers that say, oh, no, yeah, there, and then they're like, I don't do this, it's not, you know what I'm saying, okay, because
That's true.
I've seen it, okay?
If I'm being completely honest and vulnerable, I have always felt it, until this year. We did feel a little bit of where it was like, okay, like, why are people, like, what's like just this shift, like,
Yeah.
what's going on? And it was, I think accountability shifted that. And again, it was, that conversation that, like, really, okay, what is going on? And that reminder, if we're not here to get you, it's not a gotcha, but the same way that you're honest with your students and where that improvement needs to happen, that's what we need to do.
And like you said, it's just like with the veteran teachers, they get into this, in this thing that where they're really good, okay, and I'm not gonna, there are so many teachers that are really, really good, but things change. And like you said, our students change, the way they're coming in, because of the horrible C word, that everybody was home for, for so long and all that, and you've got all this, and you've got all these teachers that have so much knowledge, but okay, what you're doing now, it's not working. So let's, what can we do for you so that you can, be on board and say, okay, I'm willing to change a little bit, okay, a little bit at a time. That's what it counts, okay, and I know that those are the hard conversations with, especially, your veteran teachers, okay? And then again, you see, the veteran teachers, they model to the younger group, and then the younger teachers take over because, well, she's been here for, 986 years, so why is not she doing good? I'm gonna follow what she's doing. And then it's like that, like that gap that you're saying, like, they're not together, and I think that's why I'm asking, we really need to get all of our teachers, and this goes for all of the schools, we need to get everybody on board, and everybody, because we are shifting, because we are, moving, and we do need to close those gaps, again, close those gaps when they're small, like you said, like Mr. Chavez over there, he's got a lot of work to do also with his group, because he does, and so do you and Mr. And all of the teachers that are in the elementary group, K through 3, I mean, that's our future, and again, if they don't know how to read, and understand and all that stuff, then what are we doing wrong as teachers, teachers?
And
What are we doing wrong?
it was so hard because we've been together for so long,
Mhm.
and you don't want to discount the hard work that
Oh,
they
no.
put in. And so how do we have that conversation? And it mulled it over and over. I thought, okay, we're working really hard, but are we working really hard on the right?
On the right
And
thing.
that was that kind of, okay, you know what, I have to check my ego at the door.
Mhm.
And what do I need to do?
Yeah.
different? And I ask, okay, what can I do better? How can I support you better? And all of you, like your feedback this evening, I'm very grateful for it. And our doors are always open. And I invite you to come by and share with me. Like, we want to hear, what do we need? How can we do it? And we will continue to be staff that care, and our students will continue.
Exactly, and thank you for your presentation. It was amazing. It was, again, you know, I really admire you again, like all the other, you know, principals that were humble enough to accept, you know, that something needs to be done, and that something's not getting done in the correct way. And we're all, you know, you know, responsible for all of this. Why? Because we are all, okay, in it for the same reason. We're all in it for our kids, for our future, for our students, for our community. Okay, so thank you very much for your presentation. I really appreciate it, and we're always here for you guys, and we will be visiting you guys. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All righty, moving on. Okay, the next subject is the superintendent report, Mr. Verdugo.
Thank you. I'll keep it short this evening.
Yes.
I just wanted to thank Ms. Padilla and the TLA for their summit last week. They did an outstanding job of starting the new year with a lot of learning for our teachers and staff. They had a national speaker, which I think set off the summit in a very positive way, set a nice tone for the learning that day. So again, thank you for all your work in putting that together. Also wanted to recognize Ms. Vasquez will be acknowledging her son tomorrow, who is being recognized at the basketball game tomorrow night for being the only 1,000-point scorer in Rio Rico High School history. So he's building all-time leading scorer to this day. I think 1,492. I think.
72, 1,492.
Yeah,
1,472.
Yeah.
I know. I went through every single one. I'm sorry. I saw every single point go in.
So he'll be recognized tomorrow at the basketball game. So, which is a great honor, recognizing him. But other than that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, sir. Okay, moving on to the subject, the governing board members report. Ms. Fabian?
Spelling bee was excellent. The kids were so confident, and they really did excellent. There's a lot of rounds.
Yes.
Yes.
And I really want to acknowledge the donations from the White Elephant, because you all have to write like a grant at what you're going to do with those funds. And you did quite well in receiving the funds that were requested. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Guerrero?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Mr. Ramirez?
Yes, thank you. I want to say that I had a really great time at the little shindig that RHS has every year at around Christmas time. It was a lot of fun. Got to hang out with those guys and have dinner with them again, and socialize a little bit with Mr. Canoip and Dr. Lunderville. And it was fun. It was also fun watching Miss Vasquez's daughter
Oh,
sing. You know, they did karaoke in the little cantina next door, and that was a lot of fun. And I even sent her a little video of her daughter singing, but it was a blast, and it was a really good time, especially at the end of the semester when you're feeling just burned out as a teacher. The second thing I wanted to discuss is my governing board report is to welcome Mr. Ben Guerrero. Everybody teases me. They say, wow, mister, you got like former students who are teachers now, and like Justin, who's a chess coach, and all the way up to principals and people in the district office now. And now I got a fellow governing board member, who's a former student. So welcome, Ben, and I know you're gonna do really good work. And if I want you to know, you still owe me detention from high school. But welcome, Ben. I hope it's everything that you dreamed about, of being a governing board member, and he comes in with such a great attitude. He's just telling us how he really wants to learn from us, which is so cool, but I'd really like to hear your voice too about issues and stuff like that. So welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramirez. Mr. Beach.
Yes, welcome back to all the staff. 2025, haven't seen you in a year. You guys look amazing. Yeah, so Planet Fitness was packed. It'll be packed for about a month.
And that's it.
Hey, Ben, this is a short meeting, just to let you know. Sorry, Ricardo. Proud mama.
Yeah,
Hey,
definitely.
you did amazing. You know what? Moms are the backbone of the family, so
Thank
you
you.
know, you done did good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, donations. Wow.
Yes.
White elephant, really, man, I wish it would have went in my bank account, but it didn't. But yeah, all those that donated, thank you. Yeah, we did attend a conference in December, and I just want to make one comment that one of the things that I brought from the conference was you cannot do it alone. Like Mimi said, you know, I called the other principals. I'm asking for advice. Not only within our district, within our school sites, sharing information, but they go, you know what? Outside, bring in the health department, you know, to talk about depression, anxiety. I remember they used to come in my room when I taught at Rio Rico twice a month to talk about these things. Bring in the fire department to talk to our kids, our JTED, our police officers, our nurses. Anything you need, the community usually will come in and help out. So just remember, principals, when it gets overwhelming, make some phone calls, because there's a lot of people out there that'll come in and help your kids and help the community, our school community, any way they can. So that's what I took out of the conference.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, 2025, let's keep on rocking.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so with me, the same thing. We had that conference, and again, I also brought back that, you know, that's why I was telling, you know, Ms. Renteria about that, because that's what I brought back, you know, the fact that it's like, you know, you raise a child, the whole community raises the child. Okay, so that's one of the talks that we went to. Okay, and one of the things that really bothers me is that, okay, about these things that we can't go to every single one that I want to go to, you know, so I go to the one that, you know, that best I think that I'm going to get something out of it and stuff. So, you know, but it was a really good conference. Also, Mimi, I mean, Ms. Padilla and all of your crew, everybody for the shift, the students. I'm reading the book, just so you know, okay? And yes, the guest speaker was amazing. You know, she really set the tone. She really did, you know, like everybody was like all into it. And again, okay, I wanted to go to every single, you know, breakout session. I could only go to 2, and I thought they were amazing. I went to Mr. Kumar's one, you know, because of course I'm a math geek, you know, so I thought, let me see what he does and everything. And you know, and it was personalized learning, and he had a really, really good presentation and stuff. And then we went to I went to the other one was, I can't remember what it was, but it was also, we were talking to what's his name? I can remember his last name. He has a book out, and what was it? I think it was Mr. Marzano. Okay, we went to the Marzano one, okay? I remember, and the only reason I went there was because, I remember him when I was in school. Everybody would say, oh, Mr. Marzano, he's the way to do this and things like that. You know, it's like to get to know and empower the competency-based platform model. So there's about 700 and some odd models that he's got, okay? Now, how can you go through all of that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't, it's impossible. But if as a school, okay, we try to adopt, you know, a few at a time, you know, I mean, it made a lot of sense, you know, on what he was saying and all that stuff. Again, you know, I wanted to go to more, okay, to more of these, but of course, you know, I couldn't, but you know, I wish that we had more of these things, you know, for the teachers, because there was a lot of really good questioning, and there was a lot of good, you know, take back from what, you know, from the two sessions that I went and, you know, and everything was really cool. Very, very well organized again, but you know, I don't put it past you, you know, you guys, your team, you guys are always, you know, on top of things. And I really appreciate, you know, being able to know exactly what I'm gonna, where I'm gonna go and what I'm gonna get out of it and stuff. And, you know, I think that's really, 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 really cool. Okay. Another one was like, you know, my son, you know, thank you. To everybody, I mean, he went to school with all of you guys, all of you guys that are principals, you know him from cross country, from baseball, from, you know, he even played, I think, what was it, 1 year, because mama wouldn't let him play football, okay, but I let him his senior year, okay, since he was a runner, he was just, you know, he scored a one touchdown, I got a fumble and he ran 68 yards or something like that, and he's like, oh my God, you know, it's like, but because it was his first time, because I never let him do that, okay, I let him play basketball all the time, and he's still, you know, he's still really good and stuff, so I'm very proud of him, of everything that he's accomplished, and I'm really sad that Mr. Fanny will not be there, but he did write something, or he's gonna say something about it. I don't know what's, you know, what it entails tomorrow, but I hope that everybody can attend that can. And thank you very much for everything. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You stayed to the very end of the ASBA conference.
I always do, okay? So they leave me there, okay? You know, they leave at 11 o'clock and I'm there at 2:30, like, oh my God. But yeah, I do. I stay for all of them. I always do, because I think that if I leave, I'm gonna miss something, you know?
Prizes.
Yes, especially the prizes, which I didn't win, okay, but that's okay. You know, but that's okay. Do you guys know that they have this game that they get, huh, Mr. My accomplice, okay? They have this card, okay? And there was, oh my God, from every vendor. And I think there was about 80 vendors that were there. You know that I filled it up in less than an hour, but he was my accomplice, okay? Everything that I grabbed, okay, because I grab everything, okay? Give me this, give me this, give me this. And he was like, oh my God, I can't walk anymore from all the free stuff, okay, that I donate afterwards. So, but anyway, but he's my accomplice, okay? But thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, Nancy, let's moving on. In my number 6, information, discussion, action. The subject is release of contract for Mrs. Jessica Kuhn. Mr. Verdugo.
Thank you. The board received a notice and I did send an email with information. There is coverage for that position. We discussed with either the TLA as well as the site administration one, because the classes are actually provided by paraprofessionals.
Yes.
And so she is just a teacher that provides the lessons and then assists with teaching. So the recommendation is to release her from contract, and then the principal recommended assessing the damages. So release and assess the damages is the recommendation.
Okay, so then our recommendation, I have a motion to release Mrs. Jessica Klum from her 2024-2025 contract and assess liquidated damages in the amount of $1,000.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, are there any further discussion? No? Okay, then all those in,
Hey, we got one.
excuse me, well, yes, I'm sorry.
Well, we don't have any consistency with these things. That was proven in the last meeting.
Okay,
We don't have any consistency, and I don't like this because, again, it's not individuals. Like last time, I compared Mr. Fanning being a public servant and me being a public servant, yet I was charged and he wasn't. But it wasn't really just about us. There are bigger issues here. This is about other colleagues too involved. And I don't like all the inconsistencies that we've had. Mr. Kramer always used to have this little test and he would always talk to you about it. Do we have somebody? And sometimes if we had somebody, we generally agreed that we were gonna not charge them liquidated damages. And now we're gonna charge this one liquidated damages, though we have somebody to cover. I don't like it. I don't like all the inconsistencies. We need to have a heck of a lot more consistency with regard to these things. Because if not, then what are we saying to the public? And what are we saying to teachers? For one person, it's one way, and for another person, another way. I mean, that's how they're gonna look at us. And so I don't like it. I don't like the inconsistencies of the whole thing. Really, we have to show fairness with everybody.
okay.
I'll
Thank you
respond.
very much.
I'll
Oh, yes.
respond. Yeah. I think the board does need to revisit,
Mhm.
and we might need to do it during, one of our retreats or
Okay.
something, so it should be revisited.
Okay, can we put?
And there's always a gray area. You know, I know in the past, and I don't want to get too far off the agenda, but a lot of it released from contract because a spouse moved out, child is sick. they have cancer.
Yeah, they have hardship.
Okay, in this instance, the individual just got a new job. So there's always that gray area. You'd have to look by case basis. But I do agree with Mr. Ramirez that, the board should revisit and should, you know, come to a conclusion of how are we gonna, assess or waive damages.
I totally agree.
That's all I got.
We can definitely add that to, policy review.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any further discussions?
Nope.
Okay,
Well, you need to vote.
oh, we need to vote right here. Is that all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed, say nay? Abstain?
Abstentions? Yes, I abstain.
Abstention? He abstains, okay, so ayes have it, motion carries. Okay. Moving on to,
Point of order, for the record, it's 401. right?
Correct, 401.
401. Yes, 401. Angie, did you get that one? Okay, thank you, Mike. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're always on top of it. Okay. Anyway, subject is B, propose and prioritize topics and possible dates and times for future board meetings. Mr. Verdugo?
I think, yes, so many of the board members will be traveling to the Bolton Conference on January 24th, which is next week.
Mhm.
And you should receive your information tonight. And it has that for you. And then your topics, I kept even the ones that, previous board member had requested, just because I think if it was on the list, I think we should still address it.
Yes, definitely one.
Yeah, all of them that were still, just so that we can dismiss them at that point, but I think we should get them on the agenda. And tonight we added the, liquidated damages as a policy review. So any other additional items that the board would like.
Anyone? Ms. Oviatt? Mr. Guerrero? No, Mr. Ramirez?
No, I haven't.
I have nothing either. Okay, so then we have to vote on that? No. Okay, so then we move on, right?
Yep.
Okay. Subject, C, board, informational item, Mr. Verdugo.
It's,
Number 7.
Consent agenda.
I apologize. Okay, it's okay. Hey, I'm learning.
You're-
Okay. Number 7, consent agenda. The subject A is approval of the consent agenda.
and so the.
Mr.
read that.
Okay, I will, consent agenda. Any matter on the consent agenda will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed as regular agenda item or items upon the request of any board member. Does anybody want to change anything? Ms. Fobian?
Nothing.
Nothing? Mr. Guerrero? No. Mr. Ramirez?
Yes, number 1.
Number 1. Okay, we've got number 1. Mr. Beach?
No.
Okay, nothing. Okay, I don't have anything either. Okay, so then,
So then we make a motion to approve.
yeah, and we're gonna make a motion to approve and accept and ratify the consent agenda as presented without number 1. So moved.
Second.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? No? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, aye. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Ramirez, okay, number 1.
Yeah, so in our last meeting, we discussed the assessing damages with Mr. Fanning. The vote went down, and then after the vote, Mr. Beach said, motion passes 3-1. And then I said, point of order, and then we tried to clear it up. But then, Mr. Verdugo, you said, motion passes 3-0, and that's how we left it. And it wasn't that. So to be clear about it, to make sure it's precise, it was 3-0-1.
Okay.
So that needs to
Did
be.
you get that,
Sorry,
Angie?
Angie,
Thank you.
and that's that.
And
Thank
that
you.
was that? Okay, any other questions, remarks? No?
Just need a motion to. approve.
Okay, so then, motion to approve and accept and ratify the consent agenda number 1 as presented,
Not as
Wait,
presented.
as
Amended.
amended. Okay,
Yes.
there, that's the word, okay, as amended. So moved.
Second.
Second, okay, any further discussion? No, okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, so let me see, wait, I know what I have to say. I got it, okay? All right, guys, this meeting is now, excuse me, oh, it's okay, sorry, it's okay, this meeting is now, adjourned at the time of 7:15 PM, and have a good night. Thank you so much, everybody.